Hey, my name is Kelly Byerly. I'm 25 years old, and this is my story. I'm gonna go not into detail about the whole 9 yards, but just kind of give a brief summary about where I was and my success story about where I am today. Um, Forewarning, there's gonna be a lot of times where happy moments, this and that. There's also gonna be some times where it's pretty intense, and it will probably hit home for quite a few people. So just forewarning, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Okay, so I'm just gonna start at the beginning. I was adopted at birth. The parents who adopted me, Brett and Jennifer Byerly, they were actually in the waiting room. Papers already signed when I came out of my birth mom, Stephanie. So everything was already a done deal. My parents are amazing. They were amazing. They just they're just top notch. They're not perfect, obviously, but um, they laid a magnificent foundation for me as a kid. I just enjoyed being a kid. I laughed, I joked, I played. My dad is phenomenal, and my mom is just right up there. Just with her creativity and just her um, detail to organization, it just really helped me. Um, Anyways, okay. So, second grade, that's when I first was written a prescription for ADHD. I was having trouble focusing and just completing work, and I was put on Adderall in second grade, and that's kind of the start of where things kind of start happening. Fifth grade, I got diagnosed with a hair disorder. It's called trichotillomania. Um, it's a nervous stress disorder that's pretty bizarre. You know how people like play with their hair when they're nervous or they'll twirl it? That's kind of what I did, but more severe, and I would pull it out. Um, I remember going to so many treatments trying to figure out how do you control this and that, but um, in 3 months, so the summer after my fifth grade year going into sixth, I had completely pulled out pretty much all of my hair. Um, I started losing friends. Um, Fifth grade, it's not cool to be weird. It's not cool to be out of the norm, unfortunately. But I was, and the medications that I would be put on to try and help my situation, they would make me aggressive or angry, and I would lash out, and people pulled away. A lot of bullying happened, a lot of whispering about, oh, why am I wearing a hat, or just stereotypical stuff. Um, that happened. I had trichotillomania probably, well, at least really severely, up until my sophomore year in high school. Let's rewind though, back to middle school. Middle school was just, I was super short. I was not matured at all, like as far as like developmentally. So like, things that happen, just developing, puberty, I guess that's the right word. I had gone through none of that, so I was still very much a kid at that time. But just trying to figure out medications. Sophomore year in high school, um, that's kind of when things kind of started going downhill a little bit. My anxiety kind of shot up, and my depression shot up. So I was put on more medication, so the list is starting to get bigger. I remember just being so anxious, like on test days, I would get so nervous, like, oh my gosh, like, I can't do this, to the point where, like, I almost wasn't able to attend school on some days, and, I did it, though. I graduated with a 3.7. I worked very hard, and I was very determined to do well, and I did. After graduating, I tried college. It wasn't for me. I would get very stressed, and I didn't have anything that I wanted to pursue enough to get a degree in. So I was like, okay, you know, let's put that on hold. I ended up going to Uganda, Africa when I was 18. Since then, I've been 3 times. When I was 20, that's kind of when my life changed. I had been in counseling previously, but some mood swings were starting to surface, and that kind of was the whole starting point of just medication after doctor visit after hospital visit, like the whole, you know, thing. um, I'll be honest, like I really don't remember much from 20 to about 24 and a half, except for a lot of drama, a lot of frustration, a lot of hurt, pain, scary times, and just overall, um, just a hard time. I'm not going to go into detail for the sake of time, but um, it was very hard for me to see myself, the person that always used to make people laugh, was joyful, passionate about life. That person started to dim. Um, I was on some heavy medications that changed my personality. I would be super sleepy, and then, or it would be adverse, and I would get angry, and my mood swings would be worse. And then we had to go through the withdrawal of taking me off the medication, putting me on something. It just that happened. I mean, that was my life for 4.5 years. I was never able to hold a job for more than 3 months. I just my being myself had just she had really just gone away. I My relationships with my friends, with my parents, with my sister, everyone, they became really chaotic. Because I was so inconsistent and I was so like unpredictable with my moods and my behaviors and my actions, and people didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to help. In between those times, I was in and out of the psych ward, and it just, there were lies in my head. Oh, you shouldn't be here. You're not good enough. No one wants you. I mean, everything that you could say about yourself negatively, that's what was happening, except only I believed those words to be true. Um, 25. 25 is my changing year. The first part of being 25 was horrible. I was homeless. I did not have any money in my bank account. I was really going nowhere super fast. When you get to the point where staying alive is no longer what you're trying to do, the other things don't really matter. So like holding a job, maintaining good positive relationships, everything, it doesn't matter. When your body and your mind and everything has told you, I don't want to be here anymore, that's kind of what you focus on. That's where I was. I was going nowhere really quick. This night in particular, I went to a nightclub to dance and just have a good time. Things turned really south. I had gotten super angry at someone I really cared about and ended up pushing them. And as a result of that, the friends of this person basically bombarded me and basically said every low blow you could say with someone who is struggling with what I was struggling with. And I ended up hitting another guy, which ultimately I didn't really care about, but the principle was that I had now hit two people, so 2 acts of violence, and I was not a violent person. This is the part where it's going to get emotional and probably going to hit home, so just brace yourselves. That night got really bad. I did not recognize who I was. After hitting 2 people, one who I really cared about, and seeing and feeling the way I was feeling, I didn't want to wake up the next morning. And I'd been feeling like that for quite some time. I think that night kind of just, it brought it all together for me. And After the club had closed at 2:30, I had walked and wandered and climbed onto the ledge of the Burnside Bridge in downtown Portland. When you get numb, when you make that decision, I don't want to be here anymore, that's pretty much all you feel. You don't feel anything except for numb. And that's, again, where I was. Previously, before I had climbed on to the ledge, I had texted a friend and I simply said, please tell me not to jump. I was fully prepared. I needed silence and I needed my nightmare to end, and that's what I was prepared to do that night. I stood there for a while and I looked up and I remember saying, you need to show me something. And at the time, I know I was referring to God. Maybe within 5 seconds, again, I was not keeping track of time, but very soon after I said those words, my phone buzzed. I pulled it out, and the person who I had texted me back, and their words were, don't jump. That, for some reason, is all I needed to hear. My voice is really shaky right now because I am pretty emotional right now. But anyways, that is what I needed to hear. I almost fell off the ledge merely just because I was I think I had hit the moment of relief. I had climbed back over onto the other side, and I met up with this person. They drove me to a safe place, but this night was my game changer. I promised myself to dedicate my life to get well and to dedicate my life to fall back in love with myself. And I did. That night was so scary, so low. I didn't want that to be my life, and I made a switch. I eventually moved back in with my parents. Nothing was really changing mentally though. I had been on about 20 different medications trying to figure out and help and fix everything I was dealing with. But one thing, and none of them seemed to be working. One thing that I did notice, that when I would smoke the right kinds of marijuana, I seemed to be functional and I seemed to be very okay. Let's see. So after moving back into my parents, things weren't changing, and I basically said, like, you need to get, marijuana, and I did. I remember I had taken some pop cans back, and I think my dad probably said to use the money I got for gas. I didn't. I went to a cannabis store and purchased a little bit of weed. I remember feeling so excited because I knew, like, I would feel relief. Long story short, my parents found out that I had purchased it, and a fight broke out. Or not a fight, I guess, a verbal argument broke out, and I was ready to just walk out the door again, and before I said that, I stopped myself, and I was like, this is it, like, you have to get them to realize what's going on. And I did. I stopped, and I was not nice about it. I looked at them, and when I get really overwhelmed and really just frustrated, I will start hyperventilating and just start crying. And that's what happened. I was trying to get my words out, and I was crying, and just, I'm at a point, like, this, I told them, I looked them, and I did not sugarcoat anything. I was like, you guys are going to lose your daughter either by accident or by purpose. Like, I'm tired. I cannot do this anymore. I'm done. Like, please listen to me and just listen. Please just listen. And I think after seeing my tears and my desperation, they really did a 180 switch. After researching marijuana with my mom, she helped me get my medical marijuana card, and I'm sorry, I'm so happy. It has literally been a fairy tale ending for me. It's been about 3.5 months off all medication. Um, I smoke medical grade marijuana, and you guys, I'm so blessed to be able to sit here today and tell you that I'm back. The person that has been hidden and altered and masked for about 5 years, she's back. I wake up every day and I'm happy. Everything that I was passionate about, my music, life, animals, people, helping people, it's all back in my energy, you guys. My energy is I'm ready to live, you guys. There were so many times I did not think that I would make it. There were so many times where I shouldn't have made it. And I'm here. I am here. So I'm going to live. I'm going to be the best that I absolutely can be. So yeah, please stay tuned, guys. My story is so cool. I hope it touches so many people, and I hope, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where this is going to go, but I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah, that's my story. Again, this is now 3.5 months off all medication, and whew, I'm ready. Let's do it.